Write your names in the chat box. Those who have already entered, write your names in the chat box. Those who are joining one by one, write your names in the chat box. So each and every day I update all the attendance in the LMS section. So it's your responsibility to check it once also. Fine. So there were some people who informed me that somehow their attendance was missed, and when I checked the chat box, yes, I found their name was there, but I missed the name by chance. So for that reason, I will update from my side the attendance for each and every one of you, and you yourself also check once whether the update is correct or not. We will wait for another 2 to 3 minutes. If few more people join in, then we will start off with today's class. Okay. So as I told in the last class, I will be teaching you module 1, 2, and 4. So basically, module 4 we have learned in the last year's last semester. There was a subject over there. We have learned that part, but still we will be revising that part. And this module 1 and module 2, not much is there to learn extra. Few things are there to learn extra. I will be explaining those. Now, this entire concept about this object oriented database, it is from the name, it is somewhat coming to our mind that object oriented programming, whatever the concepts are there, those will be collaborated with the database concept. So, if I see, the first thing that comes to our mind is the object definition. Now, do not say that that typical object definition that anything in the world we can represent as an object. So, just in a language of engineer, how do you define object? Anyone in the language of an engineer? Do not give that class 6 wala definition. What does an object have? When we say that this is an object, which are the features that it needs to have? In that manner, any one of you, please answer. What do you mean when I mean what is an object, and why do we need object? Anyone? You can use Google and answer also. Anyone? What do you mean? What do we mean rather? Like when we see, when we hear or define the term object, and what are the characteristics we like to focus on when we deal with this word object?
Ma'am, object is an instance of a class.
ऐसे मत बोलो object is an instance of a class. That is a basic definition. I am not asking that, and everyone knows that. It's an instance of a class. Class is a collection of similar. Oh नहीं, ये object programming language आया क्यों? Why did it come? We were simply doing or learning C. Then why did we need to learn this Java? Which reason? There must have been some reason, na? The reason was complex data types. Using C, we were not able to program structurally the complex type of problems that are prevalent in the world. So, for that reason, the concept of object oriented programming came. So, user defined complex data types. User defined complex data types. Why is it saying user defined? Because we did not have a control on the level of complexity the data were handling. So that level of complexity was defined by the users who were dealing with those complexities. So variety of users were dealing with variety of complexities. So in order to capture or in order to solve those complex types, data types, this concept of object came into being. And when we say an object, so definitely an object has a state. State means what? State means variables, right? It has methods. Methods mean what? Operations or the behaviors, right? So user defined complex data types was handled, and how do we notice one object? It must have a state, it must have methods, and apart and in addition to this, an object is defined by four characteristics. The first one is the identifier. We all know what is an identifier. It's an id for an object, right? How do we define anything that becomes the identifier for us? The next is the name. So in database, any object can have a unique name. In DBMS, if you see, if you define objects, entities, each and every entities can have a unique name, and they also cannot have a unique name. But there must be some attributes by which we will be understanding that this object is different from the other object, right? The third is the lifetime. Now, what is this lifetime? Now, it determines that if the object is persistent or not. That is, the object will be used across our database in how many databases or in which databases it won't be used. So, what is the lifetime of that object that we are defining? In how many cases which we will be using, in how many cases we won't be using. So, that defines the lifetime. And the fourth is the structure. Now we all know that construction of objects happens through type constructors. Using type constructors, these things you have all have learned in Java. Using type constructors, we can construct objects. So that comes under the structure. So these four are the characteristics of an object, or we can define or describe an object by using these four characteristics. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
The state, which we refer to as the current value. State of my object is just the current value that my object is holding. So the current value of any complex object that can be constructed by other objects or other values by using type constructors. So one object or current value of one object we can get from other complex objects. We can create the from other complex objects using these type constructors. Now, these constructors are what? Constructors are, suppose, tuple, set, then we have array, then list, like this. These all are constructors. How we construct our database. Databases are considered as objects, and how we use these complex databases or complex objects in order to formulate our object or our database. Then now, what do we do in abstract data types? We define class. We provide extension we provide extension to current our complex attribute types. So suppose we want to define some user defined data types, we can do that. Suppose it will point to the existing attribute types, we can do that. Then there was a concept in object oriented programming which is also there in object oriented database, that is encapsulation. All the concepts in OOP are incorporated here, but in the form of database. So next was encapsulation. Now this implementation of operations, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is we will hide. So the how the operations are implemented, then how the objects are structured, all these things are hidden. So this, when we hide these complex operations and the structuring of objects, all these complexities we hide, we refer to that process as encapsulation. Next is inheritance. Now how does inheritance will profit in code? Suppose if my class has a few properties, and from there I am creating some object of that class. So those objects will support those properties also. So if I have written a code in order to support my class, then that code can be reused for the objects of my class, or if I am calling some other class, that code can be reused for the objects of that class. So code reusability increases. Code reusability increases. So sharing of data happens more with hierarchical scope. The fourth and the best example is operator overloading. I think all of you have known because you people have learned C++, you people have learned Java, then you people have learned advanced Java. So all of you are familiar with the object-oriented concepts. So the basic definition of polymorphism, everyone knows that many forms. So the classical example of this polymorphism is the operator overloading example. Okay. So these four are the characteristics that the object oriented database will represent. Okay, now we will talk about object oriented database. Now all the features that I have talked so far, when there is a database system that incorporates all the important object oriented concepts, all the concepts, important concepts of object oriented which we have talked so far. So when all these concepts are incorporated in a database, that database we refer to as the object oriented database. Now, in addition to these features, some unique features will also be there. Two very unique or additional features of object oriented database is one is which we just talked about, unique object identifiers, and next is the persistence object handling. Okay, so we will talk about this in future. So as of now, just remember the two basic additional features is object identifiers and unique object identifiers, and object handling. Object handling, how we will be doing it in object oriented database, that is the key feature of object oriented database. Now what are the advantages of object oriented database? 1 minute. Hmm. Now, the first advantage of object-oriented database is that the designer, he can specify the structure of the objects. So the structure of the objects, and whenever we define the structures, we also define the methods associated with the object, that is the behavior of the objects. So the structure of the object and the methods, all these things the designer can design himself. One thing, when database was coming, everything was designed by the database administrator. We did not have much privilege to design our database. In that database, we were designing our tables, but designing those databases were not much of a use to us. But here, the designer can design the structure of the objects and the methods which he will be using. So, somewhat, even if you cannot design the entire database or the majority part of it, but some features he alone can design, So definitely it gives a better interaction with the object oriented language as well. So a better interaction with the several object oriented language such as Java, then there is C++, all these things can be done. And the major goal was like the complex and the user defined data types, all these things can be defined now. And the fourth, which is very important, is encapsulation property. So the complexity, that is the operations and the user defined methods, all these things can be encapsulated also. So these are the basic advantages which gives a designer or a programmer from the object oriented database system. Now, if you have studied software engineering in your like semester 7, there you will see class diagrams and all. There also, the the chapter where class diagrams and all you people have learned, there also the concept of object oriented was there. You designed the members of a class, then you designed methods and objects, like this you were doing it. Now, the question will arise that what are the syntax? The syntax is the normal SQL only. Okay. So this select, from, where, whatever this we use, these are the syntax which you have learned in any query language. So those syntax are applicable in this object query language also. So the syntax is based on SQL, but some additional flexibilities are there. So some user defined operators, some user defined types and so on. These additional features are added. Now one example I will like you to show. The difference between an object query language and the SQL. There is structured query language and there is object query language. Okay. Suppose I have a query. The query is what are the names of black product. Hmm. And suppose I have a table like this where I will have product number, then I will have name, then I will have color. Now, in order to find the answer to this query, suppose I am using this language, that is select distinct p dot name from products P, where p dot color is equal to black. Fine. Now this statement is valid both for SQL and for OQL. For both it is valid, but the results will be slightly different. Now, anyone say that in case of SQL, what will it return? this query, when I will run on this table, in case of SQL, what will it return? Anyone?
Ma'am, in case of SQL, it will return all the products which are of black color, but there will be no duplicates.
So here will be one column, but it will return me a table, and the table will contain two rows. One is the name Ford and another is the name Mercedes. Yes, right? In case of SQL. Now, in case of object query language, the same thing is there, but a little twist happens. That is, since this Ford and Mercedes, both of them have a different name, so they will be considered as different objects, because every person is a different object to you, right? So everything with a different name is a different object. So as a result, when the statement runs on this object oriented database, it returns as a collection of objects. Now how will it return? First, it will return me one row, that is Ford, and then it will return me another separate row, that is Mercedes. And both of them it will return as a string. There won't be any name column as in SQL. So the difference in structured query language and object query language, is it at least somewhat understandable from your point of view? Where is the slight difference? Everything is same, but everything is considered in views of objects. So where is the slight difference? The good thing about this is, the bad thing is a lot of strings will be produced if there were a lot of other things. But the good thing is, we will have easily, suppose it may happen that if I have 100 rows in a table, I will easily, maybe one row may be missed. But if separate streams I have, the general tendency is we don't miss anything when we have separate collections. So, is it clear to you what is the slight difference between the same query run over the same table, but in the structured query language concept and in the object query language concept? One thing is it clear? Is it clear the difference?
No, ma'am.
कहाँ पे नहीं समझ में आया? Why did you not understand?
Ma'am, object query language.
What is your name?
Ma'am, Kunal.
Okay. So the language is not different. The SQL language and the object query language, they are not different. Few additions are there, but the rest of the things that are in SQL, same things are in OQL. But the difference is the way they are executed, and as a result, the way the results are perceived. So language wise they are very similar, but result wise they are different. How they are different? SQL runs on the concept of tuples, because here tuple by tuple who have received the answers, but object query language it works on the concept of objects. So one object, that is Ford, and there is another object that is Mercedes, of the both the black color. Even if both the objects are of black color, but the two objects are different, so they are shown differently. That yes, the products are of black color only, but they are two different objects. So that is shown differently, unlike SQL, one after the other. So SQL works on the concept of tuples, that is rows and rows, and OQL works on the concept of object. Similarly, SQL works on the concept of table. Here, if you see, it has it has taken this column out of this table. So this table, this smaller table as a whole will be shown to you all the rows which will be satisfied. But in case of object query language, it is shown as a collection of objects. So the major queries are similar. They look same, but the way they give the results back and the way they execute on the database, those are different. Now, is this thing clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the normal Oracle, which first was invented, then from there till now, a lot of changes, a lot of enhancements, additional features was entry was made. So first the feature came was relational database management system. There different data types, then uh, security was enhanced, data type list was enhanced and all that. After using relational database concept, then came the concept of object oriented. In there আমি তোমাকে পরে ফোন করছি, আমি একটু ক্লাসে আছি। So after database came the object of object oriented. Now the object now the object oriented features was there. What is this object oriented features? That it will support the functions, it will support the procedures, the modules, the classes, like so on. Okay. So this was the concept of from the evolution of relational database management to the evolution of object oriented database management, and how the same language is there, the same query pattern is there, but it gives the result in a different format. Okay, so this was all about today's class. Anyone has any question from today's class? Okay. So I hope everyone has written down your name in the chat box, and all the teachers of our department, day by day, they since a lot of queries has come from you people also in the past year, that you people wanted the recorded materials so that it is available to you and it is beneficial for you. So we do that. We upload all the videos day by day on the YouTube channel. So everyone please subscribe to the channel so that you yourself can get the notification which video is uploaded when, because we won't be repeating that we have uploading there and all. So we will be uploading one by one and you will be all be getting notifications of that, and it will help you to study. So thank you so much for attending today's class. Thanks a lot.